Alright, so here we are getting into core activation. Got some fun stuff for you guys today. Doing core and activation is definitely my favorite part of every workout. To me, the foundation of your body and the livelihood that you can carry on doing the rest of the things in life that you want to be able to do, this is where the money is made. This is where you keep yourself healthy for a really long time. So that's why I put a lot of emphasis and care into these particular exercises. And maybe I mentioned it in another video, but I'm going to say it again today, is what you'll notice is that with each core exercise that I choose, I try to implement activating 3 different areas. That's usually anterior core, posterior core, that's glutes, hamstrings, back, and then some sort of rotation, which is obliques and other rotators of the spine. Okay, so it's always front, back, rotation. So we're always doing those in every core activation day, and you'll notice that. That's going to be a theme going forward forever. So now the first one is going to be a DNS exercise. I've brought this up before, dynamic neuromuscular stabilization. And the reason why these exercises are really important for me is that they mimic the developmental stages of a child, and therefore you've gone through this developmental stage before. This is the way that a human body develops to be able to activate the core, the central nervous system, the way that we were evolved to be able to function in our body. So this is how every human, at least hopefully, develops through their body. So the first one, it's called the 3-month supine position. Okay, so you're going to be on your back. That's what supine means, and you're going to bring your knees and hips to 90 degrees. Okay, so right here you can see my hips 90 degrees. My knee is basically 90 degrees. My foot is just a little bit higher than my knee. And you can see that my toes are slightly turned out. So they're not turned in, they're bowed out just a little bit. And you can also see that my knees are slightly wider than my feet. So my knees are bowed out just a little bit as well. Okay? So that's the position that you're going to maintain your lower body at, okay? Now what you're going to think about doing here is bracing your abs so much so that your low back and mid back stay flush to the ground. So what you'll see here right now is if I have space in my spine here, in between the ground, if I could put my fingers in my low back space right here, that's really bad, okay? You do not want to do this. You don't want to allow this, because this is a disengaged anterior core, and then your low back is at risk for impingement. Okay, so you want to get your low back tight to the ground. See what I did there? I braced my abs to push my back into the ground. Now my core is flexing, okay? And I'm actually trembling because I'm fighting so hard to push my back into the ground. And the angles in my legs have not changed. So it's just a matter of adjusting my spine here. And what I like to think is if you could see my rib cage flaring up right now, you want to think push that down. And I like to also put my fingers here in my core so I can feel that I'm really tightening and pushing against my fingers. So I'm going to do that. Now you're going to do that something between 30 seconds and a minute. So I'm going to go another 30 seconds or so. And if you've already been here for a little while, be mindful of how long you've been going. Now you'll also notice my breath, right? So I'm going to inhale, watch as I exhale. Belly drops, inhale, belly rises. Trembling is a good thing, okay? Trembling is basically meaning that you're fighting hard, that your muscles are contracting. So that's a good thing. Don't worry about that. Just be mindful that the low back isn't coming off the ground. All right. It's definitely longer than 30 more seconds, so core's feeling it already. Now the next one you're going to do is flipping over onto your stomach. Okay? And you're going to be in the Superman position with your arms out in front of you, legs back behind you, obviously. Your head is going to be relaxed towards one side. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to do what's called an alternating Superman, where I lift my opposite arm and leg at the same time. But as I do that, I'm going to inhale, bring my head and neck to neutral as I do that. And then I'm going to set my head down on the other side, facing the other direction. Okay? So I'm facing one way. I'm going to inhale and lift my right arm and left leg. Hold for a half second. Exhale down to the other side. I like doing that little half second hold because I can just really feel my low back engage, my mid back. I'm feeling my shoulder and arm be nice and strong, keeping my elbow straight and my legs straight. You don't want to let the arm bend or the knee bend. You want to keep those as straight as possible. So I've just done one each side. I'm going to do 9 more each side. That's 20 total reps, 10 total each side. Okay? So I'll continue on. Join me. Remember, inhale up, exhale down. The bigger the breath, the better. So really try to take a big breath in as you lift. I got 3 more each side. All right. That one's, for me, really energizing. It's not meant to be a completely exhausting exercise. You're not meant to feel any certain burning sensation as you go along. It's just lift, contract, feel it, go back down, completely relax. Switch sides, do it again. Okay? So I did 20 total. Remember that for the next time you go around. It's 20, 10 each side. Next one we're going to do is standing, okay? So we've talked a little bit about hinging before, right? Hinging is when you bend, okay? You reach down for the ground to grab something or pick something up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little rotation as we do something like that. And this is, you know, if you're going to load yourself, I would say this is more of a dynamic movement. This would be in tier 3, but we're not loading. We're just trying to engage the obliques and core a little bit differently. So that's why I'm adding this into this particular tier, this core activation tier. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your feet directly into your hips. So not a squat stance, okay, fairly narrow. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put both hands on one hip, okay? So I have my left hand on my left hip, my right hand on my left hand, like so. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slide my hands down my leg, the outside of my leg, to my knee. And what you're going to notice as I do that is that my hips are going to go back. That's the hinging motion. My hips are going back, and then my hands are going down just to the knee level. Okay, I'm not going any lower than that. Now what you'll see in my spine is I'm obviously twisting here. Okay, and when I get that twist, I'm opening my obliques on this side, and that's the area that we're trying to engage. And then I'm going to squeeze my glutes to come back up. And I'm not going to end up turning or twisting forward. I'm just going to keep facing this way, keep my hands on my hips. Hips go back, slide down, come back up. Now I'm going to do 10 on this side, and then I'm going to do 10 on the other. Now you can go a little bit lower if you want, but you really don't need to go that much lower. And you really don't want your knees to bend too much either. It's not a squat, so I shouldn't be dropping down like this. Your feet should definitely stay flat on the ground. It's more about bending, pushing your hips back, sliding down. Keep your shoulders facing that direction. That's 5. And because it's not too crazy of an exercise, you could also do 15. I'm just going to do 10, so if you want to continue along, definitely do so. Make sure you stand all the way up. Each time you come up, all the way back up. I'm going to do 3 more. I'm focusing on strong arches in my feet, not allowing my ankles to collapse. 8. 9. And 10. Okay, now I'm going to turn around, do the other side. So I got my right hand on my right hip, left hand on top of my right. And remember, rotating, doing things unilaterally or twisted, we're always going to feel a little different sensation going side to side. So maybe this way feels a little bit tighter. Take it slow as you switch sides. Okay. Feet are under the hips, not super wide, as I already mentioned where the hands are. Hips go back, slide down. This way is definitely a little bit tighter for me. As I mentioned in previous videos, my typical rotating way from previous sport endeavors was throwing with my right hand. So I would rotate in those sports to my left. In this particular exercise right now, I'm rotated to my right. So I'm going against years and years of throwing motion to unravel all of those years of throwing, which is why I'm a little bit tighter in this direction. I'm going to do 2 more. All right. So that's core. You got 3 exercises. I just went through once. Of course, as I've already said before in many videos, you're going to do this at least 1 more time, 2 more times if you really want that extra, especially if you're just finishing here in this tier 2. Why not do 2 more sets, right? Get that exercise in, make it a little bit harder for yourself, and you're going to receive the benefits. Just don't forget the form. The number and the amount of times you do something is not as important as the form. You must maintain the form of everything that I've mentioned, so don't lose that. And if I'm losing you here at tier 2, congratulations, you've gone this far, and I'll see you on Thursday. And if you're moving on to tier 3, here we go.